On this episode of Content Sessions, we talked to Armin Faraji about Node app. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, bro. Appreciate it.
I'm glad we got to do it finally. I know you're not in the city regularly, so.
Yeah, we're based in Markham. But this is cool, man. Like I did a podcast once, a couple weeks ago actually, but
Nice.
this is my second podcast appearance, you could say.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's interesting. It's like I've only actually been on two or three other ones,
Okay.
other than my own, obviously. And I just find like the direction of them is always like some people have like fixed questions, some people it's open. You just kind of go in like. I was worried about it, like nervous at first.
Yep.
Then you go in, you're like, oh, you're just gonna ask me about my business. Like I know everything about my business. That's fucking easy.
Nice.
Right? So
are you used to being on camera, or is this like?
just like the last 6 months.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I just started it from out of nowhere. It's
Cool.
mostly because I can't write.
What do you mean?
Like I'm a very poor writer.
Okay.
And I knew I needed to put out content, and so I did this because I can't write for shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like if I've got some like longer form blog pieces and stuff, and they're all ghostwritten. I don't write any words for the internet. At all.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
So yeah.
Well, you manage your social, right?
Yes.
So you write some captions.
I write, but you can tell it's like a 6-year-old writing it. Anyway, tell me about the business.
Okay. So we've my co-founders and I previous to Node, actually, probably give you some background about myself.
Yeah.
I used to run a social agency called Growth Group.
Okay.
And we manage social media accounts for small businesses as well as a lot of national brands. And through my experience working with these businesses, we realized that a lot of companies were interested in working with more influencers and sourcing user-generated content from Instagram. This was about 2 years ago. And originally, we actually used to create influencer collaborations kind of manually with like the same way a lot of agencies now do, where they
Just reaching out,
yeah,
negotiating it, and yeah.
exactly, through Instagram DMs or email or SMS. And just over time, we realized that, there's a clear gap in this market, and we could probably aggregate all these conversations through a platform. So I teamed up with a couple friends. We started interviewing customers, talking to different influencers, and eventually we created some mock-ups and developed that into an app, which we launched last October as the Node app.
Yep.
And what the Node app does is it's basically a marketplace where brands can post their products or services, and influencers could redeem these items and basically enjoy them for free in exchange for creating a post which features that product or that service on the influencer's Instagram page.
Awesome. Got it. And we'll dig into some of the logistics of it, but kind of going back to the agency side, how much did you kind of grow that out before it? Like, was it kind of still really small and then you kind of pivoted from that, or how did that kind of transition?
That's a great question, actually. So, I mean, I was about probably 18 months or a year and a half into that. And I think we had about 30 clients at that point that we were creating social media content for, specifically on Instagram.
Okay.
And then it was kind of a slow transition because one of my first employees that I hired, Tiffany, my goal was to basically put her at the helm of that business and have it still operating. So it took about probably, I would say 6 to 8 months for me to get Tiffany really trained and also like oriented. I don't even know if that's a word. Orientated?
Yeah. I don't know. Don't ask me about words, man. I'm out on that shit.
But basically to give her an orientation
right
on the full logistics and managing that business. And now she's running that company. She's doing a fantastic job, and that kind of opened up the opportunity and also the time for me to focus on Node. So in short, I guess like it was a slow transition, but it took about probably almost a year for me to make that full transition from that business to what we're doing at Node now.
Got it. And so do you still own that business? And then you just basically have the CEO for all intents and purposes?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd consider myself the CEO of that business. I think
Sure.
Tiffany runs the show there.
Got it. You just own the thing.
Yeah. Although like initially we kind of leveraged that business and also that clientele in order to build Node.
Yeah.
As a way to get feedback from customers in terms of figuring out, if there's an appetite for what we're building, and then also having our first customers. So, I mean, our initial user base was from the contacts and also the clients that we built at Growth Group.
Got it. And did you start Growth Group yourself, or was that with partners?
So initially it was with partners, and then I think it was actually with one of my best friends. And in the first week we had a falling out.
Got it.
And so I basically ran that myself. It was actually in my last year of university as well. I went to Ryerson, a few blocks down from here, actually.
Yeah. What did you go there for?
I studied retail management.
Okay.
Cool program. It was really unique, and I personally wanted to get into supply chain. But in my last year, I actually picked up a job as an e-commerce manager for a jewelry company called Viva.
Okay.
They're a pretty big brand, actually. They have, I think, 50 locations across Canada.
Yep.
But my job there was to set up their whole online business. I didn't really know much about e-commerce and digital marketing. I kind of just winged the interview.
Yep.
I got the got the job and kind of learned on the job. It was a great experience, great company. And then through my experience there and also hiring other agencies, I was able to create a business model and also just a business plan for Growth Group, which I kind of started while I was working there. And then when I quit, I just went full time into my agency business.
Got it. All right, that was a good pivot. I like it. And well, it's funny actually. A lot of people coming out of school want to start their own thing, and I've actually seen it work better, kind of like going into something else and like letting someone pay you to learn the actual logistics. Because one thing I found and talking to a lot of students, recent graduates who like we interview sometimes for positions with us, is that the hands-on experience is what a small company needs, and they're not getting a lot of that in the programs.
Yep.
So it makes it really challenging to.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I wish I did work a little bit longer or with like different companies. I remember what kind of the last straw for me to start my business was like I didn't get a job at Microsoft. So I got an interview. I got 2 interviews at Microsoft for like an e-commerce role when they were first launching their online store in Canada. Didn't get the job, and I was like, fuck it. There's no other job I really want other than that.
And that was the catalyst. That was the reason.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, there's no other really postings that like, I'm gravitating towards, and like, might as well just do my own thing at this point. But in hindsight, I kind of wish I got a little bit more mentorship. I mean, I'm trying to learn a lot from my mistakes and also move fast and break things quickly.
Yeah.
So that we could get those kind of validated learnings.
Got it. One thing I've been thinking about asking, because people are curious, how did you get your first client in the old business?
Okay, so my first client was actually the husband of one of my coworkers at Viva.
Okay.
So she said, "Oh, my husband, he needs to go online. Like we keep telling him he has to have a website." And then I was like, "Cool, like I'll do it for him." Like I did the Viva website, and then she was like, "Okay, cool," and got that. And he's still a client, and great group. Shout outs to Waping. But yeah, like it was literally through personal connections. And then I remember the first week I was out of my job, I was just on the phones, like cold calling.
Yeah, love that. I think it's funny now. You see, I don't know if you follow a lot of like the Facebook groups of different we probably play in a lot of the same spaces on the internet, but everyone, like, nobody wants to fucking pick up a phone now.
Right.
Everyone just wants to, I'm just going to post something or run a Facebook ad, and they'll come through my website, through the form, and I'll email them, and they'll email me, and then they'll say yes. I'm like, no, got to pick up the phone, man.
Yep.
Got to build a connection, right?
Yep.
So
yeah. Do you do calls?
At this stage, no, but way back, I was door-to-door, man.
Okay.
I literally went door-to-door selling advertising.
Yeah,
so.
Same here.
Yeah.
Even with Node, we actually, I started doing door-to-door. In fact, the first we just did our first sales hire, and Alexa, she was gonna come do door to door today, but she was swamped with a bunch of meetings that got scheduled. But yeah, I think like you really have to have that like one-on-one, I guess, interaction.
Yep.
I think the web is great, but eventually, especially if you're trying to sell something complex, like a marketing strategy, I think you're kind of doing yourself a disservice by not having that interaction with the client.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so fast forward from then 2 years later, you guys start Node. And so that was, again, that was just you, or was that with, you said you partnered with some people.
Yeah, so while I was at my previous agency, I hired a UX designer slash researcher. His name is Mackenzie, and I said, Mackenzie, I have this idea. I don't know if it'll work, but like I'd like to get started on some mock-ups. We created some designs, did a whole lot of customer interviews, and eventually Mackenzie came on board with Node, and he was one of my co-founders. And then we created designs, and we basically interviewed more customers. And at some point, Mackenzie said, hey, I have a friend who could develop this actually. And so by the time he actually said that, I already outsourced the project to an agency in India. So what we did was we developed an early prototype with Mackenzie's designs through an agency. Costed, I think, about a few $1,000.
Yep.
So not a lot really in the grand scheme of things. And then I used that to present it to PK, who's our current CTO actually, which was Mackenzie's friend. PK liked the idea. He liked kind of the progress that we were making. And he said, you know what, I'll come on board to actually manage this product.
Got it. And at that point, I know a lot of companies kind of build out their proof of concept with an outsourced company. Did he break it down and rebuild it, or did he just manage it from where it was?
A little bit of both, actually. So I mean, after hiring PK and then kind of launching the app and operating it for a while, we realized there was so many holes in the product that agency built.
Right.
And so while PK was kind of working to fix bugs and manage that product, at the same time, he's working on completely rebuilding the app. And that's actually still a work in progress. So we haven't completely finished the new version of the Node app.
Got it.
And as a matter of fact, the app's only available on iPhone. And I mean, it's been pretty successful thus far.
Awesome. Cool. And when did it like launch? When did you turn it on as a business?
So we registered the company technically in
Right.
October 2017.
Okay.
And then we launched it in October 2018. So it's been about a year, we'll say. It depends on how you timestamp this,
Sure.
this podcast, but I don't want to put exact numbers on it or because it depends when you post this. But yeah, we launched it in October 2018, and basically from the start, our initial customer base was folks from Growth Group, which was my previous agency. And we've been working on it ever since, on the product side and also on the business.
Okay. And how is it being pitched? Because I know, and I've seen a bunch of different, I'm going to connect an influencer with a brand. Like, how are you guys positioned in the marketplace to kind of set it aside?
Well, one thing with us is like working in the industry, we've realized that there's a huge problem with paying influencers, specifically like paying them in cash.
Sure.
Namely, the biggest issue that comes to mind is the actual tracking of success and KPIs, right? I mean, it's really like, even with any social campaign, it's really hard to track sales per se or ROI. And everyone, I think, in the digital world has a different definition of ROI when it comes to social.
No doubt.
So that's why a lot of brands, I think, are hesitant about influencer marketing, because they're used to the model of paying influencers. And then the second thing is that when an influencer is being paid for content, they're not necessarily interested in that brand or product. However, if they're receiving a product in kind or a service, then they're only going to engage with the brands that they're truly passionate about. And our whole goal is to create a bartering platform, right?
Okay.
It's more about bribery, not bartery. Is that a word? It's more about bartery, not bribery. Sorry. And so with us, it's a really simple, easy use platform where you simply post the product and influencers redeem it. And all you have to do is ship the product or give them a pickup location. And within 7 days, you'll have a post.
Okay. And how has the interaction been so far with the brands to the influencers? Do you ever get like, hey, we sent this and they didn't fucking post something? Like, do you get Like has it been?
We get it, but it hasn't been an issue ever, actually, which is a bit surprising. Reason being is like we have influencers on our team. Like one of my first hires, Vanessa, she's actually an influencer. She's a user of the app. Several of our hires have been actually from influencers, so we're very in tune with how kind of the behavior, right? And we give influencers a lot of leeway when it comes to creating content. We don't micromanage them. And for that reason, they understand that they have a really open canvas when it comes to producing content for brands. On top of that, if you want to get more technical, like the app is actually connected to an influencer's account. So you have to sign in through Instagram.
Right.
And so if you don't follow our guidelines or refuse to post, we could technically suspend or ban the account.
Got it.
And like one thing with the platform is like, we're not an enterprise solution, right? We're not like HubSpot that gives you this grand, CRM tool that has like tons of features, right? Our goal is simply to democratize influencer marketing by allowing you to have a marketplace to exchange product for content, right? And for that reason, influencers are like the platform is very easy to use. They're not micromanaged in that sense, like I already mentioned, but they understand the value of the volume of brands that we have.
Right.
And same with on the brand side. Our strength comes in numbers, and that also kind of leads back into the way that we differentiate ourselves is by offering a subscription pricing as opposed to transactional where you're paying for every piece of content.
Yeah.
We were able to attract brands to our platform because our subscription is between $100 to $200, which is like a drop in the bucket for the amount of content that you produce. And on the influencer side, there's all these brands that you have to collaborate with. So if you get cut off from that, it's shitty.
Right. And so who are you monetizing from? From both sides?
No. So influencers, it's completely free to join.
Okay.
I probably should have clarified.
Okay.
Yeah, it's completely free to join. As long as like you sign in with your Instagram account into the app. It takes about 24 hours to get approved. When you sign in, we have basically access to some of the analytics. We could make sure that your followers are local or they're at least real.
Got it.
Our focus is Canadian businesses right now, or the Canadian market per se. So we make sure that their followers are Canadian. Their engagement matches their audience size.
Sure. Making sure, and to clarify, I understand that, but that's to make sure that they haven't like purchased followers.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think everyone has a certain percentage of bots or fake followers or ghost followers, whatever you want to call them. But we have a threshold. We want to make sure that the influencers have amassed the real audience. And then our team member, Vanessa, actually goes through each account to make sure that the content quality is up to par. Because essentially what we're doing is creating a content platform for agencies and also brands to use really great content and user-generated content for their own feeds.
Got it. Okay. And do you have a minimum threshold of followership for an influencer to join?
Yep. So initially it was 1,500, and then we increased it to 2,000 followers. Although our goal actually is to remove the whole follower requirement altogether, and we're creating our own metric that will consider engagement and also the amount of followers, and as well as other statistics, such as their engagement on other platforms.
Got it.
So that we could have like really an influencer rating that we put forth and influencers have to meet.
Got it. And have you had any kind of backlash? Not backlash, but people having an issue with the fact that the likes aren't showing up. It's just saying this person and others. Does anybody complain about that? Are you guys getting anything back from that?
People bring it up. It's always a question. It's like oftentimes a question in terms of like how do we track engagement. Luckily, you could still see that engagement on the desktop app. We're working on actually aggregating that data, although it's a little tricky because Instagram has to approve everything.
Right. And they change their mind often.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's tricky because like we've actually had to rebuild the app, like make tweaks because it didn't meet their guidelines or whatever. And so basically at every step of the product development process, we have to make sure that our app follows Instagram's developer guidelines.
Yep.
terms of the follower and engagement stuff, it hasn't been a big issue, and that goes back to not being transactional. So in the end of the day, I mean, regardless of whether it shows how many followers or not, you're getting beautiful content, and you'll see a ton of likes and comments if you check on the desktop app.
Yeah. And how do you guys treat, just because we've done some influencer stuff, so I'm curious about it for us.
Yep.
How do you treat the content? So I make a post on my wall or a story, I guess, depending on how the agreement goes together. Well, let's start there. Is it a post? Is it a story? Is that negotiable?
So the post, it has to be a post.
Okay.
Post has to be shared within 7 days of receiving the item.
Okay.
Stories are optional, and brands could actually specify that. So when brands create these campaigns, they have a little brief that they could write in terms of what kind of content they want, and they could include stories and even reviews in there.
Got it. And then does the brand have the right to like grab that picture and use it for other stuff, or?
Yeah. So technically the brand, like through the app, the brand actually gets a high quality copy of that image.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. Although the influencer has technically released rights to that image,
picture, yeah.
We tell all of our brands that they should credit influencers.
Yeah.
Because that's just the right thing to do.
Sure. Yeah.
And we also, like with the app, all the brands can see all the influencers they've interacted with. They could also message them, and we encourage brands to work with influencers individually as well.
Right.
And like a lot of brands actually request like the DSLR copy or the unedited copy of the images. And at that point, it's really up to the influencer if they want to charge a fee or how they want to go about it.
Got it. Okay. And what verticals have you seen the best success in terms of like from both sides, from the business side, who are the businesses that are coming and knocking at the door?
So initially we launched our platform for restaurants.
Okay.
That's the main reason is because we saw that, and also the statistics say that restaurant content is the most shared on Instagram.
Makes sense. Food porn.
Yeah, food porn is really what takes up the majority of influencer content when it comes to Instagram. And then myself, like with my previous agency, the majority of our clients were food and beverage brands and restaurants. But with Node, our goal is to scale and again have that volume, and it's increasingly difficult to get in touch with restaurant owners.
They get a lot of knocks on the door.
They get a lot of knocks on the door, and on top of that, like restaurants is a unique business because the people who own those businesses are also very involved in the operations. So you'll see a lot of restaurant owners that also work at the restaurants, and then they don't have time to take calls and also evaluate new ways to market and so forth.
Yeah.
So we generally see the best success, like the best response from larger brands that actually have a dedicated marketing manager.
Got it.
But I mean, in the past, I think 3 months, we've pivoted kind of not away from restaurants. We still work a lot with food and beverage businesses, but we also work with a lot of e-commerce brands, cosmetics, CPG is really popular. So we're still kind of at that startup phase of like kind of iterating and learning more about our customers and really who that target user is.
Got it. And so regardless of the brand, when they want to come on, I pay a subscription of $200 or whatever it is. Yeah. A month.
Yeah. So it's $135 a month if you sign up for the year. Got it. And then it's $200 month to month. And then we give startups and new businesses a discount as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Just because we're a startup and we like to support new businesses and young and like entrepreneurs in general. And then we also work with we're just starting to work with agencies now as well, where we give them a discount. So that they can create an influencer package and also upsell to their clients.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That will probably be a big driver because a lot of the bigger brands are already using an agency.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised though, because agencies are very reluctant
to give up margin on stuff.
Well, to give up margin is one thing, but also to work with startups in general. I think a lot of agencies see us as this tool or this platform that's cannibalizing their business.
Right.
And that's exactly what we don't want to be, and that's not what our goal is. Our goal is to work with great agencies and great marketers so that we could help them expedite some of these campaigns. And even like people that we talk to a lot of potential investors, and we work out of a startup incubator. There's a lot of advisors, and they generally tell us to stay away from agencies and white labeling. But coming from an agency background, I mean, I see the value, and the agencies that we do work with, we have a great relationship with. So it's something that we want to continue to pursue.
Got it. And so do you guys have any direct competitors that you're kind of thinking about, that you're worried about, that are doing the exact same way?
I don't think,
because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it like this yet, so that's why I was curious.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to name them
Hey,
because I don't want to give them too much.
That's fine.
But no, to be honest with you, no one's doing it like us. There's a lot of marketplaces out there. I think if you even Google influencer marketplace, you'll find a plethora of options.
Yep. Which
is completely cool, because I think our competition kind of fuels the education and the knowledge in the space, which essentially, I mean, brings clients back to us. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of marketplaces that have like kind of bidding programs where you could bid on influencers, and essentially it's a transactional tool. And that's something we're steering far away from. So in terms of having something mobile, and also as user friendly and easy to implement, I haven't seen anything as of yet. There's a lot of agencies that kind of pose as softwares or tools, but in the end of the day, there's a guy in the back
doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah, and that's also why, that's part of the reason we could keep our prices and our subscription costs so low, is because we really do democratize the medium and give influencers and brands that platform to actually manage their own collaborations.
I like it a lot. It's super smart.
Thanks, dude.
And so now it's opened up. You're trying to get kind of brands from every which vertical, because there's a lot of areas that it makes sense to expand into. Do you have something that you're specifically focused on? Or I guess e-commerce is kind of because there's a wide range of stuff, it's just like whatever. And I guess from the influencer's perspective, it can attract a wider berth of influencer, because hey, if I like this and that, like, there's no harm in having different stuff on there, I guess.
Yeah,
probably benefits it.
I think something that actually fueled our growth is working with brick and mortar businesses. Something we have in our app is a guesting function where influencers could take friends with them to restaurants. And I think that is what fuels the growth on the influencer side, because influencers are telling their friends, and they're telling their influencer friends, and they're going out in groups. And for that reason, we have never marketed to influencers. Influencers join through word of mouth.
Got it. Yeah.
And then on the e-commerce side, we're still literally figuring out what brands are the best fit.
Got it.
We've seen some really cool things with brands, like having affiliate links, kind of integrating affiliate programs and tracking sales, using even coupon codes. And so that's been really cool, and seeing actual like direct ROI from the program. But in terms of finding really the best fit, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Like, as a matter of fact, we're still like looking at even working with like other software companies or apps to kind of push their program or to bring them more users through the app. But
how do you mean?
So, like, for instance, if let's say you release an app for healthy living, you're a pretty healthy dude.
Sometimes.
So let's say you release a healthy living app, and then you want to get some early users, then you could post that on Node and reimburse influencers with like an Amazon card.
Okay. I've got an app coming up.
Really?
I've got a product coming
Sweet.
within the next like 6 weeks. So we'll talk about that off camera. I'm not ready to announce it yet. That's interesting though. Yeah, because I'm like right now I'm in the process of building the marketing plan. I'm like, okay, product hunt. I've got like my list of people to hit up. I'm probably gonna email like 50,000 businesses in the U.S. in the first month and just like see if I can get people that way.
Yep.
But that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, or like we're another really good fit for us is like food ordering apps. Mm-hmm. So we're in the talks with I don't want to name them, but we're in talks with a few like of the food ordering apps, and like it's a really natural fit because we've already kind of established an early user base of food bloggers and influencers in that space. And so if food ordering app wants to put a $20 credit or gift card
Right.
on our app, then it would just feed into their content.
Yeah. Shit, my brain's just wired on what I'm doing now because it's actually something that influencers would probably want to use, and I could give a subscription to it. Okay, we got to talk after.
Yeah.
Cool. See, I was talking about sidetracked. Yeah. Yeah, no, I really like that. That's a really interesting way where it's not a physical product. That makes a ton of sense. Very smart.
Yeah,
Very smart.
We're still figuring it out,
Yeah.
like the logistics, but it follows the same workflow and process, really.
Sweet. And so, what are your kind of current marketing strategies? Like, I mean, obviously, I ask everyone, and the best is always the word of mouth, of course. But are you guys doing anything? Are you guys putting out content? Are you guys running some ads somewhere? Like, how are you doing?
Yeah, we do influencer marketing.
No doubt.
No, but
Yeah.
seriously, I mean, I think the biggest driver of traffic and also establishing our credibility is through our influencers.
Yeah.
Influencers regularly post from different venues and different products, and they tag Node. We reshare that content. Other brands see Node. So we do get a lot of inbound traffic from influencers. And then every 1 or 2 months, we also do our own influencer campaigns where we actually pay a handful of influencers that we really like on the app between, I would say, $25 to $50 to post some content and some stories about Node. And more than anything, that's actually just for content for us, because we love to get like beautiful flat lays of our app next to some product, showing you like the login screen. That's one way. Like a lot of it is word of mouth. We do like a lot of, not a lot, but we have ads running on a daily basis on Facebook, Instagram.
How are you targeting those? Just because I just had a couple ideas pop into my head.
So one way is like we have a few ad groups. We have one for like business page admins.
Yep.
Which is okay. We have one for we do remarketing, like people who visit the website.
Yep. And
then the most, I think, effective, or the one that we've gotten the most leads or even traffic from is a lookalike audience of our HubSpot list.
Yeah.
And then I think like one of the challenges actually we've had is getting like with that Indian agency that we work with, going back to, is actually getting our Facebook pixel on our app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we want to look like the actual customers.
Yeah, for sure.
And we haven't been able to do that as of yet. That's kind of my next objective from a marketing perspective. Yeah, like that's pretty much the gist of our ad strategy when it comes to social.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Yeah, one thing you might want to try. I'm doing this with a couple of different clients right now. So, have you ever heard of a website called Built With?
Sounds. Oh yeah.
You plug in a URL and it tells you the tech stack of a website.
Yep.
So one thing that we've done is, so these guys, I hope they never hear this podcast because they're sitting on a fucking gold mine and they have no idea what they're doing with it. So you can buy a $1,000 a month plan.
Okay.
You can go in and scrape out unlimited data and then just turn it off after 1 month.
Oh,
There's no lock-in. So what I've done, and I've used this same strategy for like 5 or 6 different things because it's relevant. So you can go in and they have to have the technology on their website that makes it relevant. So you'd have to like plan that a little bit. But a couple things is like, if I have a website that's built on Shopify or Magento or WooCommerce, right? Then I've got that person. Not only can you do that, so instead of just putting in the website, you can put in the technology, and it's like, cool, we have 78,000 websites that are using it. So I will use Shopify, and then I'll layer people that are paying at least $100 or more on apps on their Shopify store that are active Shopify stores.
Really?
So that you know that they're using a couple things from Bold and some of that, and you know that they're investing in it, and it might not just be a dead store.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's dope.
So then go in and just download. So we've got a list of, it's got to be 150,000 emails that are on e-commerce platforms that are spending a certain amount or more on the technology every month.
So how'd you get the email? Does Built With give you that too?
Built With gives it to you. So you say Shopify, and it gets you the list of all the Shopify worldwide. You can say just Canada or just whatever. It comes into this massive spreadsheet of like 150,000, and it's got the URL, the emails, the socials, the person's name, the whole thing. The whole thing.
So Built With scrapes the websites, gets the contact info, and then sells it back to you. That's dope.
So you can buy like a subscription to it.
Yeah.
Again, plan which ones you want, get all that data set, dump it out, and then you can put that as a custom audience in Facebook. And it will match to Facebook users and Instagram users.
As a lookalike or just as a custom?
Straight up person.
So remarket to those people.
Or just straight market to them. So my audience is, so I upload the Shopify one, and I call the audience Shopify store owners. And then my ad is literally like, hey, Shopify store owners, are you looking to find ways to get your product out there more? We can do this marketplace. Come sign up. And you can address the Shopify store owner because they're on Shopify. You know that they are.
Yeah.
And you know that they're active and that they're spending money on apps.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's $1,000?
$1,000 per month, but you can use unlimited. You can get unlimited searches in the first month and then just pull them out, and then just cancel it.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous. I've done it a couple different times. It's perfect.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then dump those in, and then you can go custom audience, and then you could try lookalike. I would keep doing the lookalikes the way you're doing them, though, based on the actual customer. But you could go out to net new and address the platform that they're on. Be like, yo, Shopify store owners, you looking for a better way to get your product out there?
Nice. I don't think they let you do lookalikes on lists anymore.
I don't know. I haven't found it to be effective because I don't know if those people are customers anyway.
Right.
So I wouldn't have tried to set that up, but I think it'd be a good driver of new attention anyway.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, I think they've put a lot of parameters on lookalikes.
Yep.
Where they have to be actually checking out, and you have to put a value on the lookalike or the value of the conversion. So the lookalike audience we have from HubSpot is from like a year ago. Actually, it's from way back, and I just have it saved, and it just keeps working and keeps churning out.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, give that a shot. I think especially from the e-commerce side, and you might even finding like what the technology is though that's relevant can be a bit challenging depending on the industry. Like if you knew that all of the store owners were typically using this third-party service, then you could look up and try and get them that way. But there's a lot of stuff where there's like unlimited crossover. Like you can't do it by people that use PayPal checkout because it's like any fucking store or restaurant. Like there would be no way of understanding who those people are in a meaningful way. So you got to like plan out like what it is technology-wise. But if you have a list of like people that I'd want to go after from a marketing standpoint and go and plug each URL in and see like maybe there's a common technology amongst the ones that you would want, and then try and like grab the list from that.
I like that. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
I just got to figure out if I'm willing to fork over $1,000.
Fair enough.
I've never seen an online any sort of SaaS program that requires 1,000 except Salesforce.
You can use those. They have a smaller plan. They have a $2.99 a month one.
Okay.
But you can only do a lookup for 2 technologies within the month. So I can use like Shopify and Magento and just start with those. The $1,000 one is like if I've got like 10 to 15 things that I want, I can just go in as a one-time shot, and then I have that data forever.
Nice.
So
I mean, I'm sure I feel like there has to be influencer marketing plugins on Shopify. So
sure there is.
There has to be. So I'll
yeah. So even just do it based on yeah, and that would be even narrower.
Right.
Hey, are you doing influencer marketing? You want to like improve the whatever? Yeah, you could get real deep with that. In fact, you could almost just do no, because that plugin, I can't remember if it's like that plugin that's associated with Shopify or that plugin and it's on whatever platform it shows up on. I think it's any website that it's on, but some of them will only be specifically built for Shopify.
Like if it's a Shopify app,
right.
Then the thing is, I don't know if Shopify apps show on, because I've used Built With, but I don't know if they show. They do?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, we've used that in the past too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look.
But
into
even
that.
just like, yeah, even if you just go for a smaller plan, download it out for 2 different things and just like test it with your ads. Because the thing is, say you get a list of 50 to 70K and you dump it into Facebook and it digs out 25,000 of those and matches them to Facebook people, like that audience has some legs. Like you can run that ad for 6 months before you've exhausted that audience. But if you have some good content, like if you've got 3 or 4 pieces in the funnel and then the remarketing piece, like you might not need that many right now.
Interesting. And then with this, you could also target, let's say, just Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Yeah, the list will break it down by, and you can go in and see how many active sites it has access to and how many historical sites it has access to, or like people it has access to, and then the breakdown by country before you take the list.
Gotcha.
Like it shows you like 9,500 in the US and 8,600 in Canada, and then all the different places.
Oh.
So you can understand the data without signing up. You can just go on the website and see what it is. Make sure the scope is the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd try that.
I never knew Built With did that. I thought they were just like find out what your competitor's website's built with.
Nobody seems to know, and I always it always baffles me that it has an unlimited for 1,000. Like who would stay on for longer than the month? Like how many? Because what it pitches it as is like, oh well, if people change or they move to different technologies, I'm like, yeah, okay, but like how many people change that's worth that much month over month?
Especially over a month, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little strange. I don't quite understand the business model, but it's been the same forever. It's been the same pricing for the last 5 years.
Oh, is that right?
We've been buying it over and over again. So, like as we have new needs, we'll buy like one plan, then scrape, and then get out, and then join up like the next year, one for a month, and then
dope.
And so definitely try that, the Facebook thing. And then the other thing I was thinking about, which I stumbled across the other day, there's a guy called Mark Wade.
Okay.
Dr. Mark Wade. I stumbled across him on another podcast. He has a product that's called Virtual Summit.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Sounds like a scam.
It does. It does. The website's sketchy too, but it's actually a really interesting product. And I actually found out that a friend of mine who I met in Texas started a competitive app to it. So I've already switched over to him. Hey Summit is the name of the product. Ben. He's on the show on Monday.
Okay.
And anyway, it's a really interesting way to build the top of the funnel with businesses that are maybe on the fence or maybe don't understand it, and it's a way I think to get massive content out. And I'm actually trying to plan my own right now. So the idea is this: you have a conference in real life, where you got to rent out a theater and get speakers to come in and all this crap, and it's a big job. What this does is it puts it online. So the people that are speaking can pre-record videos, and then they have the software does everything for you. So you invite the people, they upload their photo and their bio and their video, and then like whatever offer they're going to give to the listeners. And then if say they forgot to upload a picture, the system automatically emails them. They're like, hey, it's coming up. Don't forget to put your picture in. It does all the follow-ups. And then from the sign-up side, people can come and sign up for the conference to learn about the topic. And then it'll alert them hey, it's coming up. And hey, you can watch it after. And you can put a paywall behind, if you don't watch it in the first day, but you want to get access to all the talks, you can pay whatever, so you can monetize it or not. The thing I like about it is you could find speakers who don't you're not gonna have to pay to have them speak, because they're people that are maybe up and coming, but people that own businesses on the back of influencer marketing. So it'd be the same idea as a podcast, but how did we structurally do it? How do we make it work for our business? What are the things that we learned? What are the things that went right, went wrong? And you could have people do 20 or 30 minute talks, and you could host an online thing that's about it could be called I don't know what it could be called, but the idea could be how to use influencer marketing for your business. And instead of it just being a single podcast or a blog post, it could be a conference.
Okay.
And you could do it over one day, have 5 or 6 people speak, maybe even clients or recognizable people. You'd have to reach out and get people to come in. But you could market it to business owners. And because I think there's a layer of education that's missing in your industry. There's a lot. They see what's on the news and they're like, oh, this girl who got paid all this money, like she couldn't even sell the 27 t-shirts. Fucking influencer marketing's bullshit. But if they could hear from other business owners, people that are maybe not industry leaders, but like up and coming or growing businesses, about how did we actually do it and what were the pitfalls? How did we get around them? Like what made it work for us? And how to like structure it and put that piece of education out for business owners to come and listen to and discover. Might be an interesting idea for you guys, and put your name on something kind of bigger than a podcast or a blog post.
Yeah.
Like you would host it.
So I'd have to have these speakers come in.
No, you have them record it on video.
Okay.
And then they give you the video ahead of time, and the video goes on the platform.
Oh shit.
And so the talk is everything's pre-done. And they can actually upload it right into the platform.
Yeah.
So the platform does everything. So then it sends a note. So someone signs up and they're like, oh, I want to hear the talk called A, B, and C from these people. So I sign up. I'm a business owner. I want to learn. I sign up. I register for those 3 talks. And then I get an email like, hey, this talk's coming up in 15 minutes. Don't forget to watch it. And then even if they miss it, you can watch it like later. It's an evergreen piece of content. So you could actually just keep driving people to it and leave it up. And have people go in and watch the talks, but then it's branded by you, and it's like a huge piece of content that you own, without actually having to like rent anything big or do anything.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about doing it. So we work with a lot of, like I was saying, with some rappers and some whatever, and I think there's a big market for how do I get my audience to a list that I own. I want my people on an email list. So I was thinking about doing move your audience to an email list summit, or I don't know what the fuck I'd call it yet, but have speakers that people would recognize or whatever. To them, they don't have to travel. All they do is just record a 30-minute video. They get excited because, hey, I'm speaking, I'm at this thing. They're going to share it with their network. Like, hey, don't miss my talk here. Go check it out, right? Unlike I got featured on a blog or I was on a podcast, it's a bigger thing because it's a conference. So people get really excited to share it, and then people get excited to come on it. And it's like an easier yes.
Yeah, but
people.
everything is virtual, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like kind of like a webinar.
Kind of like a webinar, but you obviously want it's more of like an educational talk than a webinar. You don't the web. I fucking hate webinars.
That's
Yeah.
I never sign up for those.
No, but it could, you know what I mean?
And
like
Dan Wade sounds like a Dan Locke or a Ty Lopez.
No, he's actually good. He's a doctor. He's super fucking smart guy.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. I really nothing against him at all. No, he's I've never talked to him, but he seems like a nice.
No, I'm just talking shit.
Yeah. But yeah, it got me interested because I do this podcast because it allows me to put out content to other business owners to see my ideas, and then they might be like, oh, I like your ideas, I'm going to hire you for something. So that's my like motivation, and because I can't write. So this is how I put content out for the business. But the summit thing got me thinking about like, now I'm like the host of this big thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like the platform does so much shit for you already. And I'm like, damn. If I could just get like 6 people to agree and to record a 30-minute talk about their experience or some practical or some tactile method of doing something, and then my email list becomes fucking huge. My top of the funnel email list for whether it's consulting or personal brand consulting, whatever it is, right? But I think you could add to the email list pretty substantially with something like that, especially on such a hot topic. Yeah, it might be a bit of work to put together, but I think it builds some really big awareness for you guys.
I agree. No, that sounds super cool. I mean, I'd have to think about in terms of who I'd bring as speakers.
Yeah.
And then see how intricate or user friendly that platform is to actually build out.
Check it. It's Hey Summit.
Okay.
Is the one I'm going to recommend because my friend Ben made it. I've been using it. It's pretty intuitive. It's pretty straightforward. I'm actually really excited to coordinate it and to put the marketing, that takes effort, but like from the standpoint of like setting the thing up from the logistics side of it, it's very well done. Like
nice.
Automatic reminders for different things and automatic reminders for the speakers, and like the speakers have a bio, a profile right on the page, and it comes with like a little landing page piece, and it's like pretty done. You just have to upload content.
And then in terms of the marketing for it, I suppose you'd recommend just like inbound marketing?
Yeah, I mean, I think you get the people that come on to post about it, send it out to their email list. Hey, don't miss out. I'm going to be talking here. They can put it on their social. You put it on your social. I would probably run a little bit of paid Facebook to it, probably to whoever the audience you're running. Because here's the thing, right? If I'm running an ad saying, "Hey, I'm this new marketplace, come sign up," you might get people that aren't ready.
Yep.
That's kind of mid to bottom of the funnel. So depending on what kind of content and funnel you're putting them into, this might be front loading the shit out of the top of your funnel. Okay. This could put 3,000 or 4,000 people into the top of your funnel in one day, rather than gradually building an email list or trying to get them in through a blog post. Like when you're putting out a Facebook ad, if they're not ready for the platform or they don't understand enough about it yet, wouldn't it be great if you gave them the how's it working and how to think about it for your business, where it's unbiased. It's not you need to use my app. It's, hey, I found these people that know and have been through it, who are just like you, who've been through it, who've made it successful. Learn from them. Oh, by the way, you can now join our platform because now you're ready to start doing influencer marketing, right? I think it adds to the top of the funnel for you. Yeah. In a way that's easier than one-to-one.
So the attendees, you would basically market to them through email.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then so whatever that content flow looks like, it could just be like so you could do it as like a, hey, that's everyone's there. Hey, by the way, like if, because you'll have, like, you guys are going to be the sponsor of it, so you'll have some content about you anyway, so it'll drive that awareness. And then I would put them in a sequence of like maybe a couple other helpful pieces, and then speckling in the like, hey, if you're ready and you want to try it, like try our app, because it's going to be easier than going to an agency and them manually looking for people. Like, we're a path of least resistance for you to dabble, and so come try us. And like I said, if it goes well, you could use that piece as evergreen. Mm-hmm. You could keep marketing to new people to come and watch it, and then they're top of funnel and they could keep driving in. So you could use that piece as just driving ads continually to that if you're finding the output at the back end is driving users for you.
Nice. Hey, Summit. I'm going to look at that.
Yeah. So
cool, man.
Yeah. I didn't even know that these things existed like 4 weeks ago. Okay. And now I've just been addicted. I'm like, what the hell else can you do with this? So we're working on one for like climate change for this program and stuff. And I was like, it's so easy. Like, so they're trying to get people to become influencers and share content about that. And I was like, just go find 5 or 6 people that are influencers. They're going to say yes to being a speaker at an event because it's exciting and it's like good for their brand. Hey, I spoke at this conference. Nobody knows how big it is. It doesn't have to be a 10,000 person fucking venue. It's online. Nobody's going to know how big or small it is. If it looks good and it's good content and you have a couple good speakers, it probably just blows itself up. Right. In theory, right? I don't know.
I mean, is there any friction in terms of doing it online and the fact that there's probably some inconsistencies in terms of how it's shot or recorded from different speakers?
Probably, to an extent, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could try and say, hey, if you could try and shoot against a white background with whatever, but I mean, yes, and I think if you do it for free, you're going to get a bunch of people that, just like in real life events, if it's free, you get 1,000 people say yes and like 500 show up, probably less from the internet. Yep. But the nice thing I like about the internet is it's not like you have to wait for that content to be taken from the event and then edited, then uploaded somewhere. You could be like, hey, I knew you weren't going to show up because you were working today, but tonight all this shit's ready to go. And it's just in a place where everything's just ready to go back in and watch it at your leisure. My instinct is that a lot of people don't actually watch it when the talk launches 3:45 Eastern time on Thursday. Like, I'm fucking busy, man. But when I get home at 8 or 9 and now I'm dicking around, like, now I have access to it whenever I want, which is what I like about the online piece, because it's a really consolidated grouping of content. Yeah. Whereas a conference is like, when did it get video recorded and where do people come find it? You can still email them and say, hey, it's now up on this website. I just like it already being there. Mm-hmm. And then it's repeatable. You can get more people to keep jumping on. Yeah. But
when it comes to marketing, do you think your potential customers would consume that sort of content?
If it helps them answer a question or it helps them solve a problem that they're interested in, then definitely.
Gotcha. Like my experience with a lot of marketers is that they kind of think they know it all.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so they're not necessarily looking for new ways or even exploring. And a lot of people actually have said that to me about the influencer space. They're like, well, people in the influencer space are all know-it-alls, and they don't really listen to feedback.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, for me, there's always a market of people, and I don't give a shit about the people who don't get it. The people who like don't think Facebook ads work, I don't even want to fucking talk to them.
Right.
I'm not here to fucking convince anybody. But is there like, for me, is there a group of people that, business owners that, like, so here's my problem, right? If I'm a business owner and I read about the influencer marketing on different places, I see a Facebook article, I see this, it's all fucking mixed messaging. So now, like, where am I coming? Who's the authority on this? Who the fuck am I supposed to believe? And in my opinion, on that, if you have 5 or 6 credible people and the content is fairly consistent on, like, here's the actual state of the union. Like, do sometimes people pay and they get a post that comes down in 5 seconds and they screw people over? Yeah, it happens. But do you ever pay a fucking Facebook ad marketer who's out of their parents' basement and doesn't know what the fuck they're doing? Of course, it's a wild west. The internet's a wild west. Yeah. But I think positioning yourself as, like, especially if the answer to all of these talks, if it's real content marketing, which is what I do with this, and I encourage everybody, whether I'm suggesting a podcast or ads, or it doesn't matter. The first set of ads should never be, here's the product, you need to buy this from me. And a lot of people go real half-assed with their content marketing. It's, hey, here's you've seen it and you just want to leave the page. You come to this blog on, like, hey, here's the step-by-step on how to do this thing, and you're like, awesome. Okay, this makes sense. Step 2 makes sense. Step 3 makes sense. Oh, I can't do any of this until I buy your fucking product. You're an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, people just do it wrong. And I believe strongly, if you help people understand something and the result of that content is never you could be a byproduct of it. Oh, now I'm comfortable with this, now I'll use it, now I'll use you. That's okay. That's real content marketing. But anytime it's, here's this great piece behind a paywall or behind an email or behind a blog post, and partway through you're selling to me, I'm fucking out. As long as you don't do that, you will attract the right people, and people will, like, I think, even from the influencer side, there's a lot of people that are super curious. There's a lot of people that aren't, or they think it's a scam and they're never going to change their mind. You're never going to fucking sell them with a Facebook ad anyway. No matter what you do, they're not signing up. So I think there's enough people with a curiosity and would like to be informed about, like, what's actually going on, right, and how this shit actually works, from business owners that have done it and have started to make that a part of their marketing. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that speak. Hey, I was fucking afraid too, and it was weird, and this is how we started dabbling, and this is what really worked, and now this is the result from it. And if you can paint that picture for me from business owner to business owner, I'm going to listen to that, especially if it's like, if it's authentic and it's not to do with, I did it. Oh, but the only way I was able to do that was buying this product. Okay, now you've lost me. But if you stick to, like, real stories about how it's worked, I think it would work. Yeah.
No, that sounds pretty straightforward. I mean, it sounds like it makes sense. We do a lot of content marketing. Definitely not enough. We just don't have the means to create kind of that long form content. Something like, we've looked into actually doing podcasts, but it's just too much grunt work and prep.
No, it's so easy. I'll share with you my system. Okay. It's so easy. Okay. You find the people that you want to have on, which to me is business owners that have done it. It's the same content as what I'm recommending for this conference, right? It's business owners who have done it successfully so they can share their stories. That's the content you want to put out, right? Then another business owner hears it. Oh, this guy did it. I know that company. I'll do it too, right? That's the content. So you use Upwork and you say, make me a list on Instagram of whatever, business owners of this. Go find them on LinkedIn, figure out where they are on Instagram.
Is that how you found me, bro?
Yes. Or I search by hashtags. Okay. I think I may have found you by hashtags. Okay, cool. So this is literally what I did to you. Okay. Yeah. So I'll source that. I found you myself. I don't actually outsource it because I'm not looking for that many guests, and I've got a team kind of taking work off my plate, so I want to find the more interesting people. So I find who they are, but I find them on Instagram. Yep. And then I get them put in a spreadsheet on your phone, like a Google Sheets, and I go back and forth from Sheets to Instagram. So I click on the link, it opens the profile in Instagram. I click message, I record a voice message.
Yep.
I send
that.
Yeah, you got mine, right? Hey, it's Mike. Da 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 da. Works way better than sending notes, like an actual physical message, because you can hear the person's personality and make a judgment on if they seem interesting to talk to versus, hey, da 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 da. You're reading it. It's so easy to ignore when you're reading it. So I only do voice. So I spend like an hour and I'll DM like 50 or 60 people. I'll go through the list. Hey, da 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 da. Hey, da 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 da. And then people that come back and say yes. I say, hey, here's like a Calendly link, or a Calendly link to talk about it if you're curious, or a Calendly link to just book in a time. And then you could do it over the internet, like on a computer, or you can do it like live in a space. Soho Innovation Labs on the West. Oh, you're not in town. But there's a couple places that you can go in and actually just shoot podcasts in their space. What I will typically do, I'm doing these ones in the evening now because my girlfriend's out of town. But usually what I'll do is if I got one, it goes out a week. So on Sunday, I'll record 4 or 5 in a row. And I'll do an entire month worth of content in a day.
And then, well, you have to put together the equipment, and then you have to have someone edit it after, right?
Yes. So there's a company called Gen M.
I know Gen M, yeah.
Yeah. So I got a person on there, and we have a flow chart of what we need. So like it's like examples and pictures and a description of all the things we need. So I send them the full video, and then they make all the pieces.
Is Gen M legit?
It's fucking great.
Really?
We're on our second or third person that we've used on there.
Really?
It's fantastic. Yeah, super legit. Yeah, they got a great thing going. So especially if you've got examples of what you like. So it's like we do some where it's like a picture of the podcast with like a little wave file. So we'll create like 2 or 3 of those, a couple like quote block ones, and then some stuff for stories, some stuff for Instagram TV. They make all that. So every week get another podcast worth of content. That all comes in. We get 20 to 30 pieces because we do video. If you just did audio, it'd be less. But if you're on Zoom, you're like recording each other. So you can kind of take a little bit from that. And then we just use it to post.
So you have your guy on Gen M who knows how to edit videos? So
right now I have someone on my team that edits, but the reason we shoot from iPhone is that it gives us one consistent stream of video. Okay. DSLR shut off after 25 minutes.
Okay.
So we stopped doing that because then you had to like piece it all together.
Yeah.
So I literally just give him this full video, my audio stream, your audio stream. The software like matches up the timeline of like when it starts. And then we just cut the before and we cut the after and that's it. We're done. We don't do anything else.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We don't do like, there's no like, except for when we took a break and I clapped. And so he'll see the spike in audio and he'll cut that out. And then we just push it together. We spend less than an hour editing the full video.
Okay.
Usually 20 minutes. That's it.
Yeah. And then you just pay the Gen M subscription.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because, I was actually looking into them and I saw some funky reviews.
Yeah, I'm sure, because like here's the thing, right? As an unpaid intern, it's like you could get someone that just like doesn't give a shit. When we worked with the first person we worked with, they were good, but they were like, they didn't know what we wanted. And we did a shit job. Like, you ever used Upwork?
Yep.
And you didn't give them like a really specific direction on it, and you came back and you're like, this is crap. And you're like, oh no, I was garbage. I didn't give them any good direction at all. So we have a Pages doc with the dimensions and the number of pieces of content we need of each thing, and a bunch of examples, like a idea board of like, here's some stuff we've done, here's some stuff we like from this person or that person, so use this as like your inspiration.
Gotcha.
Here's all the software that you need, here's all the assets in a Google Drive folder, and then it's very easy for them. But you configure it once, so when we're done, I put both audio streams, the video stream, we'll take a couple of pictures, I'll dump that all into Drive, and then they just get access to that with the lookbook of what we need, and then it gets made that way. So if you give good instruction, it can come back no problem.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna give it another opportunity, give it another chance.
Yeah.
Because I think they have a cool platform. I just was a little skeptical.
I called the founder before I signed up, and chatted with him.
Cool.
And I got the like, hey, here's my red flags, here's my this, here's my that, and he talked me off the ledge of it, and then the first finding the first person took a bit of time because you basically put in like what platforms you need them or skills you need them to have, and then it like finds you some options. So we probably had to talk to we probably interviewed 10 people for the first one, and then this person we kind of like, it was quicker. We stumbled on them pretty fast.
And they have a pretty big roster?
Huge. Yeah, huge roster. The only pitfall is like if someone didn't do a good job for someone else, there's no like rating of like how this went for someone else on it. But I think here's the thing. You've hired people. So like you get on the phone for 15 minutes, like you know if they know what the fuck they're talking about. It might not be perfect, but like you get a sense if someone's just stumbling through pretending they know versus like, oh yeah, I know how to edit photos and edit, right?
So you do a phone interview with these folks?
Before anybody comes on, it's that's what they recommend is you interview each person via phone. Yeah.
Sweet. I'm gonna take a look at it.
So, but the podcast, man, like especially if you do it over the internet and you're not doing it in person, it's like if you get a USB mic, I have one that I recommend. I'm actually gonna buy it for like while I'm traveling. So like that, and then the person on the other end, if they schedule it in based on like a Calendly link. So you set your times that you're available. They come on, Calendly gives them an email being like, hey, here's the parameters, here's everything that's going to happen. And then you just jump on the phone for 30 minutes and then jump off, take that piece of content, dump it into Google Drive.
Yep.
And then a week later, it's all pretty. So that's how we are able to pump out as much as we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to shift topics for a sec.
Sure.
Do you use Calendly for all of your appointments and arranging those?
Yep. So I use the Calendly Premium so you can have unlimited links. So the links that I use, and I have short codes for them in my phone. So I go like INT 10, INT 15. So it pumps out the links. So I use a 10-minute, a 15-minute, and a 20-minute intro call link. Then I have a 10-minute, a 15-minute, and a 30-minute existing client link. So if someone's like, hey, can we like jump on the phone to talk? By default, they get a 15-minute link.
Okay.
That's the maximum number of time that I spend on the phone, just because I don't think meetings need to go that long. And people like the proficiency of knowing, okay, we're locked into that. So I have a 10, 15, and 30-minute client link. Then I have a 60-minute, 90-minute, 120-minute paid consulting call. So people are like, want actual consulting, then I will give them that and they can pay right through the link. And then I have my podcast one. I'm actually going to make another podcast one because I only have an in-person one. And so I'm going to start doing them online where it'll be the content will be a bit different, but I use it for everything and new leads. So the new leads so if I get a new lead in, I'm like, hey, this looks like interesting or whatever. Schedule a 15-minute intro call with me and then we'll talk about the project. So that's my start on everything is always Calendly.
And okay. The thing is, I use like HubSpot meetings.
Okay.
Same idea as Calendly, and I just, for some reason, I found some friction with asking people to book a meeting.
Right.
Whereas like just emailing them saying, give me a few time slots that you're available,
right,
or I'm available between 12 to 3 tomorrow. Let me know what time works.
The way I've gotten around that is I say in it, here's my calendar. It will allow you to book a time that works for you.
Okay.
Make it about conveniencing them versus you being lazy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So just position it that way. Just say, hey, I know you're super busy. I'm going to give you this link. It's all my availability, so you can pick a time that works the best for you.
Okay.
Then they don't give a fuck. Then they're like, oh, this is so courteous. Not, this guy doesn't want to set a fucking time with me.
Yeah.
That's how I got around it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then what about having Calendly links on a website? Too aggressive?
It's not too aggressive. I've done it on landing pages for consulting stuff, and it's been okay. I don't like people just being able to like pick a time whenever they want if I don't know who they are.
Okay.
I like the initial vet. Now, it could be like, hey, if you want to book a demo call or a whatever, you could do it that way. Like if someone wanted to like book a time to talk to someone about the product, you could, and just see how much like. The thing I don't like about it is I don't get to like vet who I'm talking to first. Because if I get a lead in, for me it's different, right? As an agency, if I get a lead in that doesn't make any fucking sense for us, I don't want to talk to them for 15 minutes.
Well, then why would they be signing up for the Calendly link?
They wouldn't have the Calendly link.
Oh, so okay.
So I get it. So the way I do it is I like the quick correspondence. So if on my website, very few people fill out the form.
Yeah.
The way I work is there's a click to call click to text, click to Facebook message, click to WhatsApp, click to WeChat
Oh, that's on the website?
on my website.
Sick.
So I get 90% through WeChat, or not WeChat, sorry, WhatsApp.
Yeah, okay. I was like,
WhatsApp.
this guy uses WeChat.
I do use it.
Really?
So, but what most people will do is instead of filling out the form, they click on WhatsApp and they're like, "Hey, I'm interested in whatever." I'm like, "Cool, tell me like a little bit." Da 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 da, and then I say, "Awesome, let's book a quick intro call at a time that's convenient for you." And then I go INT15, and then puts the link in the WhatsApp, and then they book.
What do you mean INT15? Is that a Calendly
That's my
thing?
short code.
For Calendly?
But I use it like on my iPhone. It's like, the keyboard replacement stuff. So I use short codes that are full URLs.
Oh.
So for like
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, so for my podcast link, if someone wanted to like hear it, I have it. It's like hosted on Wave, and it has like the picture and all the episodes and all the links. So I just say POD1, and then it puts the Wave, like the full URL to it, without me typing or having to go to a notepad.
I didn't know you could do that.
Mm-hmm. You can do it with hashtags too. You can do it with like a huge string of stuff and be like podcast hashtags.
So where do you enter that shortcode? In the settings or something?
In the keyboard. So settings, keyboard, short keys.
Dude,
So
that's
right
sick.
now there's always like trademark and like those ones, but you can do like full URL. And so if I type these letters, it punches that URL into the conversation.
Oh shit.
So I've got like maybe like 20 of them in there, all my different URLs.
Nice.
Got to remember what they are sometimes.
You're a power user, eh?
I try. I like, for me, I'm like a 10 to 15 minute meeting guy. I'm actually working on a piece of content about how you can structure your business working in 15-minute meeting blocks, because we work remote. We work with a bunch of clients. We do like really well. And like even my clients are happy to get a 10-minute call with me, because there's a comfort level now of like, hey, we're going to get exactly what we need with 2 minutes of small talk of like, hey, what's up? Because we like our customers, they like us, but like you can small talk and accomplish everything you need in 10 fucking minutes.
Yep.
So for me, it's like, how do I eliminate back and forth correspondence? So any ways I can do that I'm all about it. So yeah, short keys are great.
Dope. I actually didn't know you could do short keys like that. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. So, and they can be the same on your computer as your phone. So I do it on both.
Nice. Do you do AdWords?
Yeah.
So like we started doing AdWords. We just literally take our competitors or other PR agencies and then use their keywords.
It's okay. You're gonna get a medium click-through rate, and then the conversions are always so much lower with it, though.
Was that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do it for like telecom companies. We do it for charities. We do it for custom home building. We do a lot of AdWords. We probably spend about over 40,000 a month on AdWords between all the different platforms. So every campaign has a competitors group, and the click-through rates will usually be decent, but always the back-end conversion is always a little bit short.
Is that right?
It's not as strong. But you have a weird spot where like your keywords are not like super specific.
Yeah.
Like influencer marketplace, you could probably do that. Are you super experienced with AdWords?
Nope, not at all.
Do you know what match type you're using on your keywords?
Specific or?
Yeah.
We use a mix, to be honest with you.
Right.
Wouldn't be able to name it off the top of the head, but
it's
overall it's pretty broad.
Got it. That might be hindering the performance as well. So if you don't, so there's technically 3 types of match types, but so there's broad, which is super open, and then phrase, which is the quotes.
Yep.
And then exact. But when you use broad without parameters, it can go really fucking crazy in terms of what you're bidding on. So what you want to do is go into your keywords, and then there's a thing at the top. There's 3 things at the top. There's negative, which are the words you want to block.
Yep.
Which you've set a couple at the beginning. And then there's right beside it, it's search terms. So when you look in your search terms, it'll show you what you actually paid for, the queries that you actually paid for, because they're never the keywords that you bought, unless they're exact match or like really, really specific. So I would have a look at that. Mm-hmm. What I would use instead of broad match is if you put a plus sign before each word in your broad match, it says, okay, I'm going to let you interpret, but it has to have each of those words.
Okay.
So the difference between broad and broad modified is broad matches. Say you said influencer marketing marketplace, right? If you leave it without any symbols, it can use any of the individual words
Right.
or any interpretation of those words. So someone could be looking for Facebook marketing, and you're probably bidding on it because marketing is one of your words. If you put the plus signs, it requires all three of those words to be in the query before it'll bid.
Okay.
But if you don't do that, so most AdWords accounts that we audit are usually, if they're just like hey, we just put a bunch of keywords in, they're usually wasting between 80 and 85% of their spend
Right.
because those parameters are not set properly.
Interesting.
So I'm happy to take a look at it with you after we're done. Pop into it.
Yeah. No, we stopped doing it for a while because it just wasn't converting.
Yeah, that's probably why. AdWords is like this. They present themselves like, hey, we're like, it's very friendly. Just put in a keyword and put a little budget and like, we'll be fine. They're fucking brutal. The platform is very complicated.
Yep.
It doesn't make it look like it, but when you actually go and dig into the back end of like, I bought what? I was paying for what keyword? Like, it's really bad. They're a tough platform.
Well, and even the actual ad creation, there's so many different parameters, and like with what are those things called? Like when you add phone numbers and like
site links and call links and location links. Yeah. So the weird thing about them is that I fill in as much of it as humanly possible because, depending on where the ad is positioned at the time, it doesn't have the ability to show each one.
Yep.
So sometimes if you're like in the third ad position, it'll give you the call out will show up, but not any of the site links. And so the more you fill in, the better, because you want to take up as much real estate as possible on the screen. But it won't always give you the best option because of the best position. So yeah, that's kind of another part of it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like it's because I do all the marketing. It's hard for me to kind of be able to run so many campaigns and also be able to track them.
Yep.
It's something I'm getting better at. And then at the same time, like we do direct selling too. So like constantly on the phone with people I have to follow up with, HubSpot and like a lot of direct emails. Do you,
but your conversion is app download, not anything on the website. Or is it? No, it would be on the website for the brands, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like we actually don't really bother ourselves with conversions on the influencer side.
Got it.
At least not yet.
Okay, so there's a product you should check out. It's called CallRail.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with CallRail.
Yeah, that would be a good for you to understand where the conversions are coming from in a way more meaningful way. Do you guys use Tag Manager on the site?
Yeah.
So what I've done with that is I have event triggers.
Okay.
For like any different action that happens.
Yep.
And so if someone clicks to WhatsApp, it has a specific trigger that's like a WhatsApp inquiry.
Yep.
And then I can trace that all the way back to anything. The keyword on
from
Google,
Analytics,
the specific Facebook ad that it came from.
That's from Google Analytics, right?
Mm-hmm, because of Tag Manager.
Yeah.
When you set up events.
Yeah, we have events. They're mostly like certain pages, like pricing pages, contact forms, things like demo request page. And
so right now, do you layer it where it's like if someone goes to the demo request page, it triggers, and then if they submit something, it triggers again as a separate event?
No, we don't have those conditional ones.
Yeah, I would, because then you can create audiences based on came to the homepage, came to the demo page, didn't submit the request for a demo, and you could have a specific ad for that person.
Where would that ad show?
You could remarket to them on Facebook or Google or YouTube or Instagram.
You would do that with Pixel Manager.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So you would have different events on Facebook.
And through Tag Manager, yeah. So here's what you could do. So if I'm a business owner, I come in through whatever I come in from. I'm on the homepage. I'm like, that looks interesting. I go to the demo page. So if I go to the demo page, I'm showing a layer of intent.
Yep.
Why would I go there unless the homepage triggered me enough to go there? But if I go there and I don't fill it out, what the fuck, right? So you could create a video on Facebook of you, or a video on YouTube of you being like, hey, or so you could say, hey, I know a lot of business owners are thinking about using influencer marketing, and our platform's really, really great. See what John has to say. And then the second part of the video could be a video testimonial from a customer. That video of you talking and then showing that testimonial, showing up to that person who didn't fill out the form on YouTube, is way more impactful than just using it as general remarketing.
Right.
Because they've shown intent, but they didn't complete the process. So you can be aggressive with that person saying, you should sign up because look what this other business owner said. And it's contextually right because they've been to the demo page, but they didn't fill out the demo form. So you could make content for that person. So
as a Facebook event, you would have the visit to the demo page a different tag identity or event than if they actually filled it out.
Right.
Okay.
So then it's the first trigger is landed on website, visited demo page, and exclude people who submitted the demo form.
Gotcha.
So you pull them out because people that signed up, doesn't make sense to give them the video. But if they stopped, then those people can be talked to in more of an aggressive manner of like, don't miss out on this, or here's something to have you come talk to us because of this. Whereas if it's like I came to the homepage and you sent people that, it's like maybe I was there for 2 seconds. Like, why are you fucking bugging me with this?
Yeah.
Right.
We do the latter.
Yeah. No, that is what happens. And so, thinking about how to like map it, and it sounds like you could go down a million different ways. But what I do, so I draw a map of all traffic, intent triggers, and so all traffic, no intent trigger has more of a content marketing flow of content, and then visited the site, showed an intent trigger, which is a Facebook event or a tag manager event, then they can go into like a value prop or a testimonial or a whatever funnel. So you don't have to make it like, it doesn't have to have a million variables. It's just like until they show intent, don't be aggressive with the marketing. If they've shown interest because they're there, or they've read a blog, or they've done this, give them more of that. And then if I come in through the blog and then I go to the demo page, but I don't do it, then put them into the funnel of aggressive. But I have a sales and a content-based funnel of remarketing for that reason. So you just have to have like, in total, including the top level of ads, maybe 10 different pieces of content. And then that's evergreen forever. You don't have to do anything else with that.
One of the challenges that we have is actually differentiating between influencers and businesses. Because then it adds a new layer, and you got to split your audience and be able to distinguish between the two.
But if it's like demo for businesses and that landing page has the trigger, then you don't have to.
That's true. But you'll see it, like, for instance, we have an influencer page. A lot of time businesses end up on the influencer page.
Sure.
Because they think it's a list of influencers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for us to target people on the influencer page, we're actually targeting a lot of businesses. And then influencers will end up on the brands page because they want to see what brands we work with.
Got it.
And then, as a matter of fact, a lot of influencers, like, I think this is kind of our marketing fuck up, is they sign up for demos. And then we'll email them and be like, no, you don't need a demo.
You just go on that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
And like the thing is, Facebook gives you a preset list of events. It doesn't let you actually create your own events.
You can. Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can create custom conversions, which can fire as events. The same thing.
Custom conversions are based on links, though. They're not based on like actions per se.
No, I thought you could customize them. But either way, there's like 15 different events. Yeah. So just use the one called X as something else.
Yeah. That's right. You kind of have to create a legend.
Yeah. So if you don't use the lead one. Yep. Then just say, okay, lead is going to be this thing, and just have it fire under a different name. I guess that might be the only option. I thought you could do it based on different triggers. Maybe that's changed, or maybe I'm just wrong. I'm often just wrong. I don't know. I have no idea.
No, man. You've been very informative, actually. Yeah, it's tricky because I noticed like we use Pixel Manager, but it doesn't. We can't create our own events. We can create custom conversions,
Mm-hmm.
and those are usually based on specific links.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe it's just manipulating the events that you're not activating.
Exactly.
Mm.
That's what we have to do basically.
But I think and so what I would do is just take a step back and make those couple other pieces of content, and then funnel them out a little bit differently. Because I bet you your conversion rate goes way higher on them, and there's always going to be crossover where it's going to be going to the wrong person, but it's still the best option out of anything else.
Right.
I don't dwell too much on that, right? Like sending a Facebook ad to someone who's done these 3 things, like if they're not the right person, then I don't fucking care. I'm paying $8 CPMs. Whoop-de-shit. Like, you know what I mean? Who cares?
Yeah.
It's not like you're wasting that much targeting the wrong people, but
That's true.
but yeah, that might be. I think you take the conversions up a notch by being more aggressive or more content focused based on intent triggers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need to create more content in general to be able to achieve that.
Yeah, I agree. But one thing I encourage people on, and I do, like we do Facebook ad training for like smaller companies, and they always say, well, how am I going to create all? Like it's literally 10 pieces in total. It's 2 top of the funnel sales pieces of content, 2 top of the funnel content marketing pieces of content, and then it's like 3 aggressive remarketing and like 4 of the like other content marketing based stuff, and that's it. It's like 10. That's all you need. And so whether that's like some promo video or a blog or this summit, like whatever those things are, it's unlikely that one person that dumps into your funnel is going to see this content marketing one so many times that they're going to go crazy. Like,
Yep.
especially if you're only spending 30, 40, 50 bucks a day or less, like they're just not going to see it. And that, as long as it's evergreen, it's not to do with a specific time and date or season. Like you can generally run those ads forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're right. When it's on a blog, it's time stamped,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it a little bit challenging sometimes, depending on the seasonality.
Yeah, just hide the date. Fuck it.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know. But yeah, when you start thinking of all the possibilities, a lot of people are like, shit, we got to create so much stuff. And it is. The more you can create, the more you can niche down and get specific. But like if you have 10 good pieces, like that's going to give you a really strong funnel until if you're spending like 100, 200 bucks a day, then you're going to need more content. But like until you're anywhere close to that, like you're not going to run out. And you're not going to inundate people so much that it's going to be a problem for you.
Yeah, I hear that.
Cool. All right. Well, it's I think we've been going for like an hour and a half. So
Yeah, dude. I was like,
I told you it creeps up like nothing. But anyway, thanks so much for coming on.
No worries, bro.
Absolute
It was
pleasure.
likewise, man.
All right. Cool.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.